Hello, all you freedom-loving people. Welcome to another episode of Front Page. I'm your host, Scott Cameron Goulet. The COVID-19 pandemic has made everything very vulnerable. The entire government of Kazakhstan has resigned due to protests. The French president's comments on unvaccinated people sparked a political storm. Switzerland has handed over confidential bank client information, which is expected to lead to plenty of explosive news. It looks like 2022 is not going to be a quiet year. Okay, let's get into it. The government of Kazakhstan resigned on January 5th as public protests intensified. The country is embroiled in the largest demonstration since the collapse of the Soviet Union. The protests were triggered by a spike in fuel prices and the near 30-year rule of Nursultan Nazarbayev. On January 1st, the government announced lifting the cap on liquefied petroleum gas prices, which caused a price spike. Thousands of people held a rally in the city of Zanaozin on the following day, with protests also spreading across the country. Police fired stun grenades and tear gas at protesters, but that failed to stop them from entering Almaty City Hall on the morning of Wednesday, January 5th. Authorities declared a state of emergency in several cities, including the capital of Nur-Sultan on Wednesday. The move included a curfew from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. with restrictions on movement and a ban on mass gatherings. Initially, authorities also cut off the internet, blocked cell phone signals, and detained prominent journalists. But footage on the web showed protesters confronting riot police and gaining the upper hand, driving away an armed personnel carrier. Video from across the country showed protesters shouting, "Old man, go away," and gunfire could be heard as public buildings burned, Reuters reported. The old man mentioned by the protesters referred to former President Nursultan Nazarbayev, who is the Soviet-era communist leader who wielded great political influence in the country and who brought the current president, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, to power. On Wednesday, protesters occupied the airport. They could be seen with ropes around the neck and legs of Nazarbayev's statue, pulling it down. Video posted by Alex Kokcharev, a risk analyst in London, shows a row of Kazakh police officers who said they would not go against the protesters and who hugged each other in joy. Belgian lawyer Bota Jardamale tweeted with a video saying a full police brigade in the city of Itirau has sided with the protesters. This signals a complete shift in the dynamics of the power, and now the people are taking control. All cabinet members have resigned in response to the protests. Tokayev said he has appointed an acting prime minister and will work to reduce fuel prices amid the unrest. The current members will continue their duties until a new cabinet is formed. Demonstrators argued that the removal of some officials wouldn't bring lasting results and called for the dissolution of parliament and new limits to presidential powers. They complained that there was no genuine opposition represented in parliament. The situation in Kazakhstan is embarrassing for the White House. The United States, a beacon of democracy, is now persecuting peaceful January 6th Capitol protesters. Taking a stand in support of the Kazakhstan protesters would be too comical. Not supporting the protesters would seem pro-Russian. I wonder how the Biden administration is going to react. There are constant reports that people who breached the Capitol on January 6, 2021 have been beaten, tortured, and denied food and proper medical care while in federal custody. Christopher J. Quaglin is one of them. According to New York attorney Joseph McBride, Quaglin is extremely ill and he could die because the jail refuses to provide proper medical care and a special diet for his celiac disease. McBride told the Epoch Times they're starving the guy out. They have moved him 6 times since he's been detained. We can't send him to a facility that's not going to be able to take care of him. McBride alleged that the jail hasn't provided the gluten-free diet that Quaglin needs to survive, and they put him with inmates and guards with coronavirus that caused him to develop COVID-19. Quaglin has lost close to 20 pounds now since the 21st of December. 14 lawmakers sent a letter on January 3rd to Michael Carvajal, the director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons, requesting that he use his authority to investigate this abuse, or the lawmakers will use their authority to investigate Carvajal's failure. In a speech on Wednesday, just shy of the one-year anniversary of the January 6th incident, Attorney General Merrick Garland pledged that the Justice Department remains committed to holding all January 6 perpetrators at any level accountable under the law. He called the Capitol breach an unprecedented attack on our democracy. He said, "Those who assaulted officers or damaged the Capitol face greater charges. Those who conspired with others to obstruct the vote count also face greater charges." In contrast, government officials in Kazakhstan are more responsive to public opinion. French President Emmanuel Macron triggered a political crisis because of inappropriate remarks. The public believes that Macron is trying to declare war on some French people, and the National Assembly's discussion on the vaccine passport bill was interrupted at one point. According to a report in Le Monde, Macron commented on the vaccine passport bill saying, I'm not for pissing off the French, but as for the unvaccinated, I really want to piss them off." The president added, "And so we will continue to do so until the end. This is the strategy." He then went into detail on how he will tick off unvaccinated people. He said that he will make their lives more complicated and he will encourage people who are not vaccinated to get the shot by limiting as much as possible their access to activities in social life. The remarks immediately reached the National Assembly, where the atmosphere was already tense, triggering member protests, which led to a halt in the debate. Hugo Bernalicis, a member of parliament for the far-left opposition camp, said, "The monarchy's president, who thinks he can insult some of the French, has caused a political crisis." It comes at a sensitive time. The presidential election is due in April, and Macron is expected to run. French far-right leader Marine Le Pen criticized the remarks as unheard of vulgarity and extreme violence. She felt that Macron's policies were an attempt to declare war on the French people who had not broken any laws, and described him as politically and morally wrong. Eric Zemmour, another far-right presidential candidate, was also quick to comment, describing it as a display of undisguised brutality in front of the oppressed French. Prime Minister Jean Castex said he supports the president's remarks. He said, "The president's remarks are perfectly consistent with what we've been doing to urge French citizens to get jabbed," he said. The main measure of the bill currently under discussion is to change the health pass to a vaccine pass. This means that only complete vaccination can be used as proof, and that recent negative COVID-19 screening results will no longer be valid and cannot be converted into a valid pass. From January 15th, only people who have received the vaccine will be able to participate in cultural events, take cross-city trips on trains, or go to cafes. Switzerland, the world's largest financial center, has abandoned its 300-year-old system of keeping bank customer information confidential. The Swiss Federal Tax Administration had almost completed the transfer of relevant offshore client information to hundreds of countries or territories by the end of 2021. This leaves the world's wealthy clients, as well as terrorists, criminal organizations, and officials of dictatorial countries, including the Chinese Communist Party, without a safe place to hide their money. Over the centuries, Switzerland has managed around a third of the world's private wealth thanks to its strict banking secrecy and neutral political stance. Switzerland's Banking Act states that Swiss financial institutions can refuse any government investigation and surveillance of customer accounts, and information on accounts is permanently protected unless there is conclusive evidence of criminal conduct on the part of the depositor. And customers can also choose the anonymous banking method that best suits their needs. Also, Switzerland's tax rate is lower than that of the United States and most European countries that have high tax and welfare policies. As a result, tens of thousands of wealthy individuals around the world prefer to open secret Swiss bank accounts to hold their wealth. This has not only allowed the wealthy to evade paying taxes, but also provided opportunities for criminal activities such as money laundering. Switzerland has been under pressure from the US, Europe, and other countries as a result. The United States has stepped up pressure on Switzerland since the 2008 financial meltdown with a tax fraud investigation into UBS. The U.S. Department of Justice accused UBS of concealing billions of dollars in untaxed U.S. assets and demanded that UBS turn over the names of 52,000 U.S. citizens who held secret accounts with the bank. In order to settle and avoid the collapse of the bank, the Swiss government agreed to pay a $780 million fine and also allowed UBS to submit a list of some 280 serious U.S. tax avoiders. In doing so, Switzerland broke with the centuries-old Swiss banking secrecy policy. The U.S. Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, which was passed in March of 2010 to track U.S. tax avoidance abroad, requires non-U.S. banks to report information on the assets of their U.S. customers to U.S. tax authorities. At the annual meeting of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development in May of 2014, Switzerland and 47 other member countries, including the U.S. and European countries, signed a global standard for the automatic exchange of tax information called the Common Reporting Standard, which is based on the Compliance Act. The Swiss banks gradually started exchanging information about their clients to the relevant countries. As of October 11, 2021, the Swiss Federal Tax Administration has provided financial information to contracting member states on approximately 3.3 million bank accounts. This marked the official abandonment of bank secrecy in Switzerland. It is no secret that some of the confidential accounts in Switzerland are held by powerful Communist Party figures, but the exact amount of their offshore assets is still a mystery. According to figures revealed in 2013 by Edward Snowden, who was a former CIA employee, the Chinese exodus had reached $4.8 trillion by then. For the rich and powerful, especially corrupt Communist Party officials, what to do with so much wealth will be the biggest headache for these people in the days to come. Even Switzerland is no longer a safe place for them to hide their money. With all these changes, many people think cryptocurrency is the future of finance. We did an analysis of cryptocurrency on our membership site. I want to show you the trailer. The past 2 years pandemic has completely changed our lives. The governments of many countries have made massive relief payments and subsidies to make up for the loss of normal economic activity halted due to lockdown policies. This in turn has created massive inflations. The recent high prices for stocks, especially gold and digital currencies, have been linked to this. Unlike gold, digital currencies have no backing value and prices are skyrocketing and are unpredictable. But many believe this is the future of finance. So, are digital currencies a good investment option? Let's use the case of Bitcoin to analyze. We will get into it in an exclusive episode on our membership site, frontpageshow.com. A storm is brewing and it will blow from the Atlantic to the Pacific. This storm will scrape away all the veils of mystery and will expose the truth to the sun. So let's get ready. There should be many amazing stories coming to light this year. Okay, this is our show for today. Thank you for tuning in. If you like what you heard, please don't forget to like and subscribe this video and share it with your friends and family because everybody deserves to know the truth. Again, thank you for watching Front Page, and we will see you next time.